Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time. I'm Alan, your host. What I'm going to be talking about here is the strategy behind the Santa Anita Derby. The strategy? Yeah, there's strategy in this race. What I'm going to do is take a look at each of the five entries one by one, what they bring to the table, what they're looking to get out of the race, and the strategy that's going to be employed by each of them. And this is a fascinating race. For a five-horse field, we got a few things going on. We got definitely two of the likely favorites for the Kentucky Derby running in this race. They're already going to be in there. And we have possibly a third that might wind up being one of the favorites, Barnes, who's looking to get in. But there's even more to it than that. We're going to take a look at these. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to bring this up. I have some PPs here. And briefly, I'm going to go through this field, who I like, the strategies, what they bring to the table, how they're going to be used, where I think they're going to finish in the race. Okay, so let's bring them up right now. We'll talk a little bit about each of them, what they have going for them and what they don't. So we start off here with number one, Journalism. What's the strategy in this race? Well, what I see here is this one is getting faster and faster, moving forward, at least by the figures, by the Brisnet figures, has won the last three races, including defeating an entry here. Now, what is the strategy of this race? Michael McCarthy, dangerous, young trainer, okay? Right now, Journalism is the talk of the town, comes off a 104 Brisnet. That's what he brings off the table, but he comes off also, he jumped up 5 points, Brisnet points, from 99 to 104, but there's more to it than that. Thoroughgraph-wise, he actually ran a 0 last race. He jumped up basically 4 points, which is open lengths, about 10 lengths worth at the distance. So he made a big jump forward. What's the strategy here for Journalism? I see this more as a prep race here for him. Maybe finishing ahead of Barnes, who's on the bubble now. He needs a big race this race. You know, Citizen Bull is going to be there. So I see this one at least trying to finish second if there is a strategy. Finishing ahead of Barnes, he doesn't necessarily have to win, and he doesn't want to. He faces maybe typically a bounce, jumping up such a big speed-wise last race from his previous race. Now, do you want to? Is he a bounce candidate here? Horses that are young ones like this, 3-year-olds, they're not as likely to bounce. He has a month off, but do you want to follow up with such a big effort after a previous big effort and go into the Derby possibly a little bit burnt out? I don't think they're going to push this horse to the max this race. I see the strategy for this one, the entry, get a nice good race, get Barnes out of the picture, one less big gun to face in the Kentucky Derby. Don't let Barnes get away. Beat him at all costs. And that's the strategy I see for Journalism in this race. Where do I see him finishing? Well, his numbers are so strong and he's moving forward, and the race sets up well for him with the other speeds, all the other ones, more or less early speed types who might be knocking heads with each other, maybe not knocking heads, but they'll be expending a lot of energy early as compared to Journalism. I see him either winning or coming into second place. No worse than that. No worse than that. Winner or second. What about Citizen Bull? What is the strategy here? So the strategy for Journalism, get him out of here in good shape. Don't press him. Don't use him up. Leave some gas in the tank heading into Kentucky. No pressure there. Citizen Bull. Okay. This one now opens at 9-5. Journalism is the favorite. What does he have? What does his pluses have going for it? He's won 4 out of 5 here. Retains his jockey, Martin Garcia. Now, is that a plus? I'll get to that in a second. Martin Garcia has won every time on Citizen Bull. A long time, believe it or not, that Citizen Bull didn't win was at Del Mar when he had Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith up. So you're not going to see Mike Smith up there, but Martin Garcia undefeated on him. What does he do? His style, run, run, run. Ran the last 3 races. He's wired the field in all 3. Last race by the Thoroughgraph anyway, his lowest figure, his 96 here, Brisnet, Actually was one of his slower races. It was at a mile here. It actually present, even by the sheet numbers, a step back. He's fairly lightly raced, hasn't run since February, rose the first of 42 bullets on March 29th, 58-2. Okay, that's the good news. And the other good news, Bob Baffert. What is the strategy for Citizen Bull? All right, he's a slam dunk. He won this race. The strategy I see here for Citizen Bull and why he might not win this race, there are a couple of reasons. Number one, although he runs fast early, and at least he jumps to the lead in all the races, there are a couple other entries in here that run faster than him early. And both of them being the entries by John Sheriffs. And we'll get to them in a second. They're coming up. So Citizen Bull, is he going to do you want to get him mixed up in his speed duel early, which he might end up trailing behind one of them? I don't know. We'll have to see. Citizen Bull, that's his running style. Go to the front. And the other thing is, besides that, he might get pressure early and is no lead pipe lock to make the lead. The other thing is this. Kentucky Derby. Look at the big picture going forward. If he goes with this strategy, sure, he can maybe get loose. That's the horse's running style, or get loose or grab the lead again. But can he get the distance? Can he get the distance at the mile and an eighth of this race? He hasn't been tested there yet. Is he going to be able to maintain that through? Time will tell. But the other thing is this. If you're looking at the Kentucky Derby, if he gets there, he's going to be facing other horses that are faster earlier, including potentially two by Bob in Getaway Car and Medocket Road at 46 points. They both have 46 points, and that's way it looks like the least amount of points that ever made the Derby with the new system is the most amount of point. The least amount to qualify to get in was 46 points, or meaning 46 points has been enough to get you into the Kentucky Derby. Both of them have 46 now, Medocket Road and Getaway Car. So they're probably going to be in there. What that means is those two, their running styles, Bob, Citizen Bull will be facing two of Bob's other entries, and that are faster earlier, and they have the same exact running style as Citizen Bull. So the strategy here is this. Citizen Bull, we're going to get out there. We're going to try rating them. We're going to try rating them a little bit. And besides, to see if he can get himself, save some of his speed, turn it up later on down the road, and then motor away, really turn up the jets in the Kentucky Derby. Because between Medocket Road and Getaway Car, and we also have Owen Almighty, who's going to be in the Derby. He's another one with faster early speed than Citizen Bull. His best shot right now, Bob, I believe, is going to try and test him laying off a little bit. And there's another reason he may lay off a little bit. His other entry, we'll get to that, that's built as we go down the line here. Where do I see Citizen Bull coming in? Do I see him winning this race? No, I don't see him winning this race. I could see him, second is as high as I'll go with Citizen Bull. If he sends him to the front, he's going to get, I figure he's going to get challenged, lay off a little bit, and it works out well. Because you see, he does have a decent closing kick, even though he's primarily a front runner. He's closed pretty well, especially in the races 2-3 back. Second or below for Citizen Bull. I don't see him coming out of this race winning it. Okay, and we're going to go to Westwood. Now, this is an interesting one. There's a lot of strategy here. Why is Westwood in this race at 20-1? Reason he's in there, the strategy behind this is speed. Two reasons. One, John Sheriffs wants to make sure he gets the most points out of this race, okay? For his other entry, his big gun, Beza, number 5, to get in the Derby. So that's another by Sheriffs. So you want to get the maximum points. You don't want these discounted points. So as it is, the points are discounted. You're only getting 75% of what you normally would get. The winner gets 75 instead of 100. The same thing downward. Well, so Westwood doesn't want any more of a discount on this. Get at least 5 entries in here. And so that's one thing. He protects the points for his entry Beza to it gets as many points out of this race as possible. As it is, Beza is going to have to win this race most likely to get in. But Westwood serves another picture here, another strategy for Westwood. I see what does he bring to the table? He's nice. He's improving. He's a 700K entry, 700K out of Authentic from into Mischief. He has some Indian Charlie on the dam side. So he has some breeding. He has 700K purchase. And just on the, speaking of purchase price, actually the least expensive horse in here is Citizen Bull at $675,000. I'm not going to say the cheapest horse. That would be ridiculous. But yeah. 675. Citizen Bull is the least expensive. Anyway, 700,000 for this one. But what this one brings is the rabbit. He can help Beza for possibly getting Beza into the Kentucky Derby. What we see here, this one does have some big early speed. In the last race, you look at the opening fractions here at Santa Anita. 22-4, 45-3 at the first 2 calls. He was kind of hanging around. He was only 2.5 back. And you see by the early and middle pace numbers on his BizNet charts, they're high, 96-102, and run at the same track as Citizen Bull. So what does he do? I see this one. His strategy, Sheriff's strategy for this is send this guy out faster than he's ever run before. He's not going out there to try and win with this one. All right. That's not the big strategy. The strategy is he can incorporate Westwood as the rabbit for this race. Send him out there faster than he does before. Watch what happens. Watch if 3, I will not be surprised at all if 3 suddenly guns to the front. It's like, whoa, what's he doing out there? Well, he has done it. He's shown that he can run fractions faster than Citizen Bull, not only in the last race, but the race before that. Like, look at the middle pace last race, 93-102. And Beza, the other Sheriff's entry, number 5, he did finish third to Beza back at Santa Anita here at a mile. But if you look, he was actually putting pressure on Beza through the first 2 calls. He was running second in fractions of 22-4 and 46-4 through the first 2 calls, where he wound up getting burnt out and finished up 7 lengths back, but he was there. So he has that type of potential. So he could use him perfectly as a rabbit. Where do I see this one finishing? Westwood, by the numbers, by the third graph, 5th place for Westwood. Now we're going to go down to Barnes. So 5 entries. It makes this a breeze, right, to go through these. What's the deal with Barnes? A lot of people down on him. Oh, yeah, his works didn't look that good. He didn't look, blinkers and blinkers off, blinkers on. Okay, here's the deal with this one. He is Bob Baffert's crown jewel of his stable. Get all the whispers and the talks and the chirping out of the way that you're seeing with this one. This one, Barnes, is Bob Baffert's crown jewel of the race. Okay? So with that in mind, he's sitting at 18 points and change. What is it? 18.7, 18 and change points. So what that means is a second place finish, 38 points, 37 and a half points for second place. That'll get him in the Derby. That'll put him over 50. All right. So what's the strategy with Barnes? The strategy with Barnes is this. When you consider his running style, his best 2 races, he didn't go to the lead. He was close. He's fast enough to go close. He has good early speed, but the first 2 races, he wasn't leading initially and wound up winning both of them. And 1-2 back impressively. Okay. So you got that there. So that's what he did. And in the last race, he finished just a little bit where they sent him to the lead. I believe that last race was in the San Felipe, where he lost to Journalism. I believe that was the race where Bob experimented with Barnes to see how he can do on the lead. And he went to the front, damn near wired, looked strong. Journalism caught him, right at the end, beat him by just over a length or so. And he put up a 104 Brisnet number to that 104. Now, what is it? No, it was a little lower than that. 102 to Barnes's 104. Okay. But he was right there. So it was definitely not a disgraceful performance. He did chalk up some points over there. So what happens now? What is he going to do this race? You found out that, hey, sending him to the front, that's not going to work for him in the Derby. He's another one. Stick with the irregular running style, and he's good to go. He's good to go. By the third graph numbers, he has faster numbers than the Citizen Bull. Maybe not the buyer figures, maybe not the Brisnet numbers, best race of all. But when you break it down with the sheets, he's actually moving forward every race. And last race, he did throw a very, very solid number up there. And he's moving forward. He looks like the one that is the second fastest, pure second fastest in the race. And with Bob, I believe, even if he moves on to the Kentucky Derby, and somehow Barnes doesn't finish at least second and he doesn't get there, this is a semi-black eye for Bob if Barnes doesn't get it done in this race and show up and qualify to show up for the Kentucky Derby. Black eye. Yeah, you gotta be fair about this. When some horses get in there and they go, Bob gets a lot of the credit, sometimes as much or more than the horses. Well, if Barnes doesn't get in there, Bob got to take the heat. You can't say it was Barnes. He's just not, $3.2 million. A lot of money went into this. Think about what you can do with $3.2 million. In some areas, you can buy a mansion for that money or more. $3.2 million for a horse. Kentucky Derby or bust. I think anything less than the Kentucky Derby for Barnes, when you spend that kind of money for a horse, that got to be on the radar as the top choice. Not that, he goes on to be a nice sire. You want everything. At least get him in there. I think what is Barnes going to do? This is a perfect time for Bob to make an excuse for using a different running style for Citizen Bull. Could say, yeah, we need to test him out. We need to see if he can rate for the Derby. He's already in there. Don't sweat it. If we'll learn more about the horse. This way, he doesn't have to gun Citizen Bull to the front. And this way, it keeps the door open for Barnes getting both of them in there. You don't want Bob Baffert's going to want both of these in there. So that's the strategy here with Bob Baffert. Bob Baffert, I see him laying off. He's certainly not going to go to the lead with this one. And there's no excuse for him to go to the lead. And Barnes, he's improving. Out of mischief into mischief. He has the breeding. The distance should be okay. He's been moving forward, getting faster every race. 3.2 million. Now he has the last race under his belt, running the route distance. I could see this one improving. I could see this one less likely to bounce than Journalism, who comes off the really big race, who had jumped forward. Barnes already, by his sheet numbers, has a couple races faster than Journalism's next best race. Journalism's, his pride and joy is his last race was his fastest. I see Barnes when he has to, now they're going to let this one loose, run his best race, lay him off. That's the deal there. Moving forward, gets the big Jock Hernandez up. That looks good. That's the plan for Barnes. Where do I see Barnes finishing? I see him either winning the race, yes, defeating Journalism with another move forward, another forward move, or finishing no worse than second place. That's the deal with Barnes. That's the strategy over there. Okay? And what about Beza? Here's the thing with Beza now. Everything you talk about Barnes at $3.2 million. Beza, what does he bring to the table? $1.2 million horse out of McKenzie. Has Big Brown on the dam side. Street sense. On the sire side, going back to the grandfather and grandmother, right? So you basically have two Kentucky Derby winners there in the breeding. Isn't that something? Anyway, Beza, he's another one. He's moving forward. He's improving. Sheriff's Hector Barrios, very, very, very sharp, smart rider. He's winning 22% over here, 20% at Santa Anita, 20% overall, really coming into his own. And he's ridden this one now the last two times for a second and first place finish. And, we'll throw out the turf entry in his first race where he really didn't do anything. Okay, but on wood, he's moved forward. On wood, on dirt, he's moved forward. But what I see here is this. I see he's fast early, really showed fractions early. He's an early running type. He can actually be fast enough to be the early leader if he wants to. Is he going to do that? What's the strategy behind this one? The strategy behind this one is this: win or bust. Okay. If he gets second and gets the 37.5 points, whatever, that's probably not going to be good enough this year. You'll probably have to depend on some scratches to qualify and get into the Derby. That's not how they want to do this. They want to send this one out there to win. They want to send this one out there to win for the team, 1.2 million, the breeding. And what he does, the positive is he really showed a good closing. If you look at his pace, his energy disbursement, 101, that's through the roof. That was at a mile. Now, he got to get tested. That's a negative. But he showed good early pace, laid off the lead, was second at the first call, and then he finished strongly, took the lead by a half at the second call, and then extended that lead to 2.5 and ended up winning by 4 3/4. Okay, he has 0 points. So the plan is going to be to get this one in there, a win or bust. That's the deal. Positives, he's 2 races at Santa Anita, a first and a second. Positive, he's improving. Third, got the breeding. Got the connection, Sheriff. Okay, you've got the rabbit in there for this guy in Westwood. So Beza there. That's all a beautiful story. I believe things. Where do I see this one finishing? No better than second. No better than second. I could see this one maybe laying off Citizen Bull. Hopefully he doesn't press him. Otherwise, it's all over. I believe for this one, unless he, just turns up the jets and he has the breeding and it turns out that he can get the mile in an eighth. Slim, but Westwood, I believe, is going to be working in tandem with him to be the rabbit. So I don't see Beza going to the lead. I see him laying off. At the first call in his history, he's never went to the lead. And this time going to the lead could be perilous with Citizen Bull, who always goes to the lead. But he's too slow. He's too slow, at least by the sheet numbers. By the Brisnet, he's relatively ballpark, but probably still a little too slow for the others. So his best shot is to lay off, stay close, and turn it up like he did last time in the latter part of the race and get up. Where do I see him? Second place at best, maybe third. I mean, second is really pushing it. He does have the breeding. Where does he finish here? Could be as high as second, could be as low as fourth. Big, big dreams. I'm just telling you the most likely case scenario. So that's what we have here. It's going to be a fascinating race. And we'll see what happens. What do you think? Leave your comments down below. Who's it going to be? I see the winner right now is it's a virtual coin flip, Barnes or journalism. If I had to pick one, breeding, Bob, slight bounce factor for journalism. I'm going to lean Barnes in this race. You're getting 3-1 on him. I don't know that, and the urgency of Barnes, Bob's reputation here is kind of on the line here, at least as far as this horse goes, at 3.2 million, and he's moving forward. The development is moving nicely, and That's what I see. The urgency of the race. Whereas journalism, just get him out of here in one piece. Don't overexpend him. But what journalism has going for me can certainly, it's a coin flip between those two as the winner, first, second in this race. Yeah, most likely. So we'll see. Okay, so leave your comments down below. What do you think? Thanks for watching. And remember, may the horse be with you.